industry, previous mentor.
Thank you very much. Jr. and the many distinguished guests for joining us here today. It's a great honor. Earlier this week, I had the tremendous privilege to join Isaac.
Signing a proclamation to honor Martin Luther King Day. It is a day moment filled with irony, given the comments that some viewed as racist that the president reportedly made about African countries and those who may immigrate to this country. Let's listen.
The new law expands the area to protect it, and historic sites for the future. Generations of Americans are becoming so important, and this is a great honor for us and a great honor to Dr. King. Today we gather in the White House to honor the memory of a great American hero, the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. On January 15th, 1929, Martin Luther King Jr. was born in Atlanta, Georgia. He would go on to change the course of human history. As a young man, Dr. King decided to follow the calling of his father and grandfather to become a Christian pastor. He would later write that it was quite easy for me to think of a God of love, mainly because I grew up in a family where love was central. That is what Reverend King preached all of his life: love. Love for each other, for neighbors, and for our fellow Americans. Dr. King's faith and his love for humanity led him and so many other heroes to courageously stand up for civil rights of African Americans. Through his bravery and sacrifice, Dr. King opened the eyes and lifted the conscience of our nation. He stirred the hearts of our people to recognize the dignity written in every human soul. Today we celebrate Dr. King for standing up for the self-evident truth Americans hold so dear, that no matter what the color of our skin or the place of our birth, we are all created equal by God. This April we will mark a half-century since Reverend King was so cruelly taken from us by an assassin's bullet. But while Dr. King is no longer with us, his words and his vision only grow stronger through time. Today we mourn his loss, we celebrate his legacy, and we pledge to fight for his dream of equality, freedom, justice, and peace. I will now sign the proclamation making January 15th, 2018 the Martin Luther King Jr. federal holiday, and encourage all Americans to observe this day with acts of civic work and community service in honor of Dr. King.
Black banks, where he talked about laying out a blueprint in terms of what we should be doing in terms of activism. And so I go to many MLK programs all across the country for his birthday as well. And we spend lots of time talking about the I Have a Dream speech as well as the Mountaintop speech. But let's understand there was more to Dr. King than 2 speeches given in 1963 and 1968. And so if you have the opportunity, as I said earlier, be sure to get his book, Where Do We Go From Here, Chaos or Community. Stanford MLK Institute, they put out a 7 volumes of Dr. King's writings. And so let's not make the mistake of other people and treat Dr. King like a civil rights mascot, as he is some kind of bobblehead on the mantle. We should understand the depths of who he was and make the effort to have a better understanding of who he is when it comes to his reading and teachings. And so as long as we do like other folks and we recite 2 speeches, well then we don't have the totality of the man, who he was, what he represented, but also the movement. Earlier, Bernard Lafayette spoke to us as well, and so he was one of the folks working with Dr. King. Bill Lucy is to my right. He was one of the folks as well. When you begin to talk about so many others, the movement was not about one person. And so really, as we commemorate what is going on, let's also keep in mind what we should.
Few in the nation believe that fair housing would in our time become the unchallenged law of this land. And indeed, this bill has had a long and stormy trip.
Well, I don't know what will happen now. We've got some difficult days ahead. Like anybody, I would like to live a long life. Longevity has its place. But I'm not concerned about that now. And I've looked over and I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land. So I'm happy tonight. I'm not worried about anything. I'm not fearing any man.
Ladies and gentlemen, Martin Luther King was shot and was killed tonight in Memphis.
The death of the prophet of nonviolence set off the worst outbreak of arson, looting, and criminal activity in the nation's history. Washington's ghettos burned within a few blocks of the nation's capital.
The life of a man who symbolized the freedom and faith of America has been taken. And no words of mine can fill the void of the eloquent voice that has been stilled. But this I do believe deeply. The dream of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. has not died with him.
President Johnson was willing to speak up and say, we have to pass a fair housing bill.
Mr. President? Yes, sir. We're in trouble. We need some help. Yes? I'm afraid of that.
Federal troops, for the first time since the Civil War, took up positions to guard government buildings.
Nothing's probably touchier than your own neighborhood and your own home or your own apartment. The administration which supported the bill said this has no chance. The other stuff is okay, but this will kill any politician that touches it.
Well, I just could not live inside them. I don't feel that they should be oppressed, but I moved here because it was a white community.
I have 2 daughters and 2 sons, and if there's too many colored people around here, I definitely will get out.
I think that, well, the property values will immediately go down if they're allowed to move in here in any number.
It seems as though our country is pulling apart into separate societies, where whites have jobs and Negroes have unemployment,
where the middle class lives in suburbs and the poor are left in the ghettos, where one group of Americans looks upon another group of Americans with growing mistrust and even dread.
Then the bill went over into the House Rules Committee, and under the chairmanship of the famous Judge Smith, a right-wing segregationist from Virginia, he wouldn't hold hearings on it. He would take the bill home so nobody could act on it, and we were running out of time.
Thousands flowed through the rainy streets of Memphis this day, finishing a march that Dr. King planned to lead in support of striking garbage workers.
How many men must die before we can really have a free and true and peaceful society?
And I know you'll reach out and take mine. You take our hand.
Well, the death of Martin Luther King is a tragic thing, but no legislation should be passed as a memorial to anyone.
In spite of the riots, I am going to support this legislation with all.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Arrahmanirrahim. Malik yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdinas siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladzina an'amta 'alaihim ghayril maghdubi 'alaihim waladdallin. Amen. The English translation of that is as follows: Name Allah, most gracious, most merciful, All the praise and thanks be to Allah, Lord, the Elohim, the most gracious, most merciful, the only owner of recompense, the day of resurrection. You alone we worship, and you alone we ask for help. Guide us in the straight way, the way of those on whom you have bestowed your grace, and not of those who have earned or incurred your anger and your award. And with that, I welcome to another episode of the History of Community Life, Diversity, most Americans in New England. This week we kind of strayed off from Islamic topics, Islamic news and events, and information topics to bring to your attention that this was the 50th. Today, this week, was 50th anniversary of three major events that transpired in the, I guess that was the early 60s to the mid 60s, to late 60s in the United States. The first was the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King. We ran an opening video on that. And the second was the passing of the Fair Housing Act. And the third was the revealing the report by the Kerner Commission on Race and Injustice. You know, all three of those events transpired within weeks of each other. The Martin Luther King assassination, 6 days, I guess that was 3 to 6 days after that, President Johnson signed the Fair Housing Act. And the Kerner Commission revealed its report on race and injustice that same week. So, but I just wanted to inform you what was going on, all those different video switches on the screen, and you're probably confused about it, but I added some clarification in regards to, in consideration of the time that we have to be here before you. But also, I'm going to go back a little bit. I had another video that I wanted to share with you, but it was concerning the recent death of Winnie Mandela, the late and great wife of the first black president of South Africa. And she passed away just a few days ago, and I did have a video. Maybe we'll close the broadcast out with the video, but my deepest condolence and sympathies go out to the family, direct families of Winnie Mandela, the people of South Africa, and all those who are directly and indirectly affected by the life experience of the late and great Miss Mandela. Peace be unto you, and peace be unto all those in the southern part of Africa. That's South Africa. We're going to try to close the broadcast out with that. But okay, I'd like to, before we get into any, I have some events to share with you about our CCTV. And you know, CCTV is 30 years old. And you're invited to come out and join the party. It's going to be a big celebration about the 30th anniversary of CCTV, okay? As some of you may recall, CCTV opened in 1988, 1 Kendall Square. Since that time, thousands of individuals have learned to make media. Tens of thousands of dollars worth of equipment has been provided. Hundreds of thousands of hours of programming have been distributed on the cable channel and on the internet. So, I guess that's this big week of celebration. I guess that's gonna kick off. I guess the second week in May. That's this year. So if you'd like additional information, you can call CCTV right here for additional information on this 30th anniversary celebration. You can call 617-661-6927. and inquire about how you can become a part of CCTV's 30th anniversary. Okay, I'm Hasson Rashid, and this is the History, Community Life, and Diversity of Muslim Americans in New England. I'd like to go back to 1957 and share with you a quote that Martin Luther King made, and it's still relevant to until today, and it's still relevant. And I quote Dr. Martin Luther King, okay. Dr. Martin Luther King, okay, my tie's coming off here. Hold on. Oh, wow, just pull it off here, okay. All right, now we're together. Oh, sorry about that. Give us the ballot, and we will transform the salient misdeeds of bloodthirsty mobs into calculated good deeds of orderly citizens. Wasn't that great? Yeah, that was Dr. Martin Luther King. And another interesting article appeared in a letter, I guess it was a publisher's letter, and the latest crisis of the NAACP. You know the NAACP? That's the National Association of Advancement of Colored People. And their editor, I guess the director, the Crisis Board of Directors from their magazine, let me share this with you. This is the cover of the latest magazine, Crisis about NAACP. And article came out concerning the Kerner Commissioner report 50 years later. That's one of the video snippets or vignettes that I shared with you at the end of the beginning of the broadcast. Okay, so I'm going to just quote some of the things that Miss Laura D. Blackburn, she's chair of the Crisis Board, that's this magazine here. And I'm going to also share it with you how you can become a member of the NAACP, or you can subscribe to the Crisis your magazine. Quote, 50 years after the Kerner Commission report, little if any real change has been taking place on the race relations and race equality front. It is noted that 20 years after the 1968 report, our esteemed Roger Wilkins, Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist and former chairman and publisher of the Crisis Publishing Company, Incorporated, co-authored a report that also maintained that nothing has changed. Yet the actual signs designating whites only have come down, but the barriers still exist. Poor schools still wind up in communities of color. The poor schools still wind up in community colors. And yes, the better jobs opportunity still seek and find whites only. There are many wealthy African Americans, even a few black billionaires, but the job rate of African Americans are still more than double that of white Americans, and the incarceration of African American men and women is more than double that of white men and women. So, Ms. Laura Blackburn, chair of the Crisis Board of Directors, saying that nothing has changed in 50 years. Okay, so that was, I guess, the theme of this broadcast. We took you away from the original subject matter on the Islamic news and information and events and brought this to your attention. That this week is the 50th anniversary, once again, of the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King, the signing of the Fair Housing Act, and the revealing of the Kerner Commission report. Okay, that's 50th anniversary each and all this week. Black people, and not only black people, but all American people. You'll find American people from all walks of life celebrating these three events all week long. Okay, well, I said I was going to get you some information on how you can subscribe to NAACP, okay, so you can share some more of this good stuff. Okay, so I advise right now, my contact information I have on hand is the fact that you can go to the NAACP's website. That's NAACPnet.org, NAACPnet.org, and you can find information on how you can subscribe to this wonderful magazine that's published, The Crisis, okay? And also you can subscribe to membership. And NAACP will definitely keep you on top of what's transpiring in the Black American community all across the United States, and not only the United States, but international rather, all over the earth. Okay, I'm Hasson Rashid, and we don't have a limited amount of time, and we try to do as much as we can in a limited amount of time. So I'm gonna just give you another reminder. I'm gonna break away from the original broadcast and original programming, and tell you that the street newspaper Spirit Change is out. This is the paper whereas that helps the homeless supplement their income, and many homeless, they don't have any income to supplement, but this gets them across the stream, helps them cross the stream of some very poverty needs, some needs and poverty. So if you see a vendor that's a mandated vendor, I guess an authorized vendor, they have these vendors, they have these tags on, and those are authorized vendors. So there are a lot of vendors out there too. There are some out there that aren't authorized and they're selling this paper. And but you're advised to buy the paper from those who have the tag, the authorized vendor tag. That's Spirit Change. Help the homeless. Okay, that's what's happening now. You got to help those who are for some reason, can't help themselves. Okay, I'm Hasson Rashid, you know. It's always excellent being here with you, and perhaps next week we will get back into the Islamic news information topic, but I can tell you, I'll leave this one with you, that it's about 60 days before the Muslim holy month of Ramadan sets in. So next week we'll fill you in, we'll give you share more detail about the coming Ramadan 2018, okay, in the Western Hemisphere. I'm Hasson Rashid. You know, it's always excellent being here with you. And it's such a great achievement to come into your lives like we do here daily at CCTV. And with that, I want to leave this with you, that superior wisdom can never be subjected by inferior wisdom. So until next time, I greet you with the Universal International Cordial of Peace in Arabic language, and that is Assalamu Alaikum.
To the Mandela family, the person is here. We've got our Secretary General is here. There is no proper facility here. You can't see them, but they are here with you. Thank you, Gauteng. Let's go and mobilize for the memorial service and for the funeral, because our mother deserves a dignified funeral. Thank you.
Days of mourning begin and tributes continue for Winnie Madikizela Mandela, but unhappiness from some quarters about the Johannesburg burial plans. Zuma due in court on Friday for the start of his corruption trial, his supporters planning a big show of strength for the man they claim is being victimized for supporting the poor. This is E! News at 8. Good evening.